Welcome to this episode of Creatively Speaking. I'm Leanna Weller-Smith, the Executive Creative Director of Weller-Smith Design, and in this episode, we'll be speaking with Mariah McCullough, the creator and owner of Because I Decided. Mariah talks us through her amazing weight loss journey and how that turned into a thriving business. She took that and started creating inspiring products to help other people accomplish the same thing. We talk about how she went from Post-its to a inspirational journal. I hope you enjoy. Mariah, how are you? I'm so glad that you're joining me today.
Hi, Leanna. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to chat with you because we met a few years ago through a online program, the 90-Day Year. It was the best thing ever because I met you and a lot of my good best friends. And I can't wait for everyone to meet you and learn about what you have done because your story is really amazing. And I'd like for you just to tell us a little bit about your business and what you are doing right now.
Sure. So my business is Because I Decided, and it was born out of my own personal weight loss transformation. At my known heaviest, I was 275 pounds. And then over the last almost 10 years, I've just been on this journey of transforming myself, did some things right, did some things wrong, transformed completely from the inside out. And people started noticing and asking me, of course, they want to know, well, what did you eat? Tell me what you did, all this kind of stuff. And at first, my answer was, it doesn't matter, or just, eat whatever, figure out your own plan. And then finally, I was like, all right, I'm just going to put this challenge together. Because at the time I was doing ultra low carb. I'll put this challenge together. I'll walk people through the first 10 days of, going low carb. And that way, I'll answer everyone's questions. So I don't have to keep answering, everyone, whatever, and be done with it. And I honestly thought like at the most, I thought like I would get 50 people to sign up, and I thought they would be like people that know me. And I think the first time I did the challenge, I have to go back and look. I think like 1,800 people signed up. I mean, like wow. I was like, yeah, it was like, I don't want to say I'm a nobody, but I was a nobody. I mean, like I wasn't, I'm not Jillian Michaels, I'm whatever. I'm like, holy crap, people really want to know about this stuff. And so I did this challenge. I ended up doing it a couple more times, and I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't end in mind, except that like, here's what people are asking me. I want to use my story to inspire. And this is what people want to know. And so that kind of grew. And so I still do the low carb challenge. People are still interested in the challenge. And I think low carb eating is great for a lot of people, but I also recognize that it's not for everybody. And the thing that people who are like me, especially where I was when I started, it isn't necessarily the diet that trips them up. It's the execution of the diet. It's like making it a lifestyle. But that's boring and nobody wants to talk about that. So when people ask you, like, how did you lose the weight? And you start saying, well, I did these things. And you're not talking about the diet or exercise. They go, want next.
Yeah,
and,
that's so true, right?
Yeah. And so that's why, I still teach the low carb. I still have the low carb challenge to help people who are interested in that. But I also make sure people know that like this may not be for you, and that's fine if it isn't. But here are the strategies that I've used at each part of my transformation, because I've had lots of mini transformations along this big long journey, and each time I had a successful mini transformation, I followed the same steps. I executed it in the same way. And so that's kind of how one of the ways I came to work with you. Well, I first worked with you because you helped me make the low carb challenge that I threw together in Word, which is awful. And you helped me make it beautiful. So thank you. But so, I came to you with the idea that I want to do this journal that kind of walks people through the journey of their own transformation and takes them through the steps that they need to follow in order to execute, no matter if it's low carb or something else.
Yeah, and I think that is so smart because even like you and I talked about it. I mean, I've been on my own fitness journey, weight loss journey, lifestyle change journey for quite some time, and it is hard. Like it's hard because you want to know what somebody else did. Because you feel like, but if I just know what they did, it's going to work for me. And so what's great is you're approaching it from, this is what I've done. This is how I started. But there's other ways to do it, but there are key factors no matter what way you decide to nourish yourself in getting this done. and same thing with fitness and that kind of thing. Like there's different ways there, but there are certain things that have to be consistent in your day and in your week and in your month and in your just overall goal planning of actually getting into that healthier lifestyle. But you also created like a really like strong community through this, right? Like you had a really good following.
Yeah. So just a few short months, I think 6 months or so, I built my my email list from 0 to over 7,000. And I had a pretty strong Facebook group that was born out of the challenge. And I think there's probably close to 3,000 there. I stopped letting people in because I wasn't sure what I would do with it. And it was becoming a lot of work to kind of maintain it. So the group is still in there. But it was really good to see how the work that I was producing was impacting people, and then what worked for them and what didn't work for them. So yeah, it was interesting to kind of go from nothing to boom, a business and a community in a very short time frame.
Yeah. So, and then you started putting together a course, like an online program. Is that right? Like that's kind of where the product that we came up with started from. So maybe just talk a little bit about like that, your vision on that, and like how you came up with the idea to start it, and then how we ended up, kind of talking about your planner that we have.
So the interesting thing is before the low carb challenge took off, and when people were asking me about how to lose weight, I thought I wanted to do this webinar. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm going to do this webinar. I'm going to I think I called it five things you need to be successful on your weight loss journey or whatever. And a lot of it was what's in this journal because I knew that that's what they needed. That's not what they were asking me for, but I knew that's what they needed. And nobody was interested. And so then, then the low carb thing happened. All of a sudden I had this community and yada, yada, yada. But in my heart all along, I knew that like what was in here, like that's what people needed for them to be successful. And so I thought, okay, well, if I put a course together, I didn't want to call it a course because I didn't feel like course was actually the right, because, it's fitness is a little different, but I'm like, this way, like I'm with them, they can see me, I can deliver this stuff. It's, and they can kind of have their own transformation. And originally we talked, it was just going to be like worksheets and kind of, a course manual or something online. I don't know. But the more and more that we talked about it, it's like, no, I want this, we want this to be something they can have and they can hold and they can put pen to paper and, they can really own their journey. And they do prioritize their transformation for the 90 days they're with me. They prioritize that over most everything else. I'm not going to say over everything else, but over most things, because what happens is the reason people aren't successful is because they don't do that. And so I thought it was important. If it's going to be that important to them, and I'm telling them they need to prioritize this over the next 90 days to see their transformation, I want them to have something to hold, to be able to write, be able to go back and look so that they can own this journey. And so that's kind of, it started as a digital product, but then talking with you and talking about the importance of like, no, we want them to have something to hold and to look at and to really be theirs and to see their journey. It turned into, what I gave you looks nothing. Like I had in my mind, like kind of like what I wanted. I had zero idea to articulate to you. Like, I think this is one of the things.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, and I just had a screenshot of it.
Yeah, here's what I want. It's a screenshot. I had that, and then I think like I had like notes on here. I took pictures of and said, here's what Can we do something like this, Leanne? Here's the content.
That is so funny. But then it's so true, like basically, and I try to explain this to people that are a little leery about working with a designer, right? Like they feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's always some stories about, a designer this or a web designer this, and you hear all these, horror stories. But the thing is that if you find the right person to work with, it becomes a really great collaborative process. Like your vision to, just put something out there to help people. I know what it means to like go through these things. So I can even then, it was a great process because we totally like bounced off each other on this one. And, what was also great is just I know your story. So I know where you started. I didn't know you back then, but I know you after the transformation and through multiple transformations, just like all of us, we're always evolving, right? And even your latest transformation, which is like seriously amazing. And it's like, it's so awesome to watch and to know that, like, this is a constant thing. Like, this is something that you work on all the time. And so going through this product, it was awesome. So it was a transformation journey. So I'll hold that up so people can see it. But like, this was the best thing ever, because you incorporate your story into this. And that's what I think is like the best thing, because it really connects you to the audience. No matter if they're in your group or not, it shows them that you're a real person and that this is what it takes. And then, on top of that, then you go into even just highlighting some of the women that went, and the different people that went through your program with the low carb challenge, which this is like, it's such great, social proof, real proof, like that these things work. And especially when you have a community that's solid like yours and somebody that leads it, that I think that's the cool piece. Like that's the part that, people want to coach. They want somebody that's going to help them, that's been there. I've hired plenty of people or gone to different events or this or that I feel like they don't really know my journey. And I think that is one of the coolest things and one of the most valuable things you get out of something like this. But putting it together, you really thought about all the different, like, delayed gratifications, like thinking about the future, thinking about what holidays are coming up, what special events are coming up. And, I know that when we went through this, even some of this content, like, I'm like, it would be nice if you had this. Mm-hmm. And you were so good at, like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it together. And we did. We came up with these. I think every time I look at this, I'm so amazed, because I just think it's so beautiful and so well organized. But it's not just the design of it. It really is like how you approach the whole system, and walking people through the different parts of this program. So I'm curious, like, I know, like, when we worked together, I mean, it felt like magic. But I mean, I guess, like, from your side, from your perspective, like, what things held you back from, or it could have held you back from even just approaching me about it, or, or in hindsight, like, were there different things that you would have done, like, before we started or anything like that?
Well, I worked with a designer before, not on this, just on some, little PDF thing I put together. And they gave me what I asked for. And my problem is my brain doesn't work like a designer. It doesn't, I know my content. I don't know how to organize it in a way that's visually pleasing. I don't know how to design it in a way that's visually pleasing. I don't know how to organize it so that the flow works. I don't know any of that. And so when I worked that first designer and they came back with what I asked for, and I just remember being so disappointed because it isn't what I wanted. It's what I asked for. I know that sounds weird because I gave them the content, but it's not what I wanted. And so I actually didn't work with anybody for a long time. So I'm like, well, that was a waste of money. And I struggle with, how do I articulate, like, here's the content, and I, like, have this vision, like, I kind of know, I have an idea of what I kind of want the end result to be. Like, I don't know every single detail, but I, like, kind of idea of the package, but I don't know, I have zero idea how to lay that out, zero idea how to really explain the details. And so when we did the low carb challenge together, and you gave me that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted. I know, like, that's not at all what I couldn't explain to you that that's what I wanted, but you got it because you understood me and you understood enough about how I want to show up in the world and how I want my brand to be represented, that you totally nailed it. And so I'm like, okay, so then let's talk about this journal. And it was, it was this. Yeah. It was pictures of this. It was like, hey, these are some of the things that I want to talk about. I'm gonna have to add content to this. How do we make, like, I had no idea, and I felt a little foolish at first. I'm like, other than this, I don't even, and I think you're the one that said, can you do post-its, or can you draw something out and then we could talk about it? That helped me because and I didn't feel like, because I know I was stuck before because, like, I don't know how to tell you, like, I know the content I want delivered and I kind of have an idea, but if I have to sit here and give you all the details and I have to tell you I want pink number, I don't even know a color number, but let's pretend I did, whatever color number.
Right.
And I have no idea. And, but when we started working together and like you totally helped me organize my thoughts, and my thoughts were kind of all over the place. And you're like, because all the experience that you had, you're like, okay, I know when things flow better if we kind of do this. And I know you said that maybe you want this in every chapter, but I think it would work better if we just had it all at the end, or if we had a sample page here and then say, go to page such and such for whatever. Like you had all that knowledge that I probably would never finish this if I had to figure it out myself. And so like I don't think of you as just a designer, even though I know just about it. But I mean, like to me, you're not just a designer. You truly were my partner in this. And the skills that you have, like I so don't have. And it's like you got in my head and you understood what I was trying to do. You brought your background, your expertise, and you like I was seriously so like such a burden was lifted when like you came back after a couple of our talks and like, okay, so let's organize it this way or this. And it's like, oh my gosh, yes. And I can't even, I cannot adequately express what a gift that was to me. So thank you.
Oh, it was my pleasure because that's the part I love about it. Because I know, and that is people, they put these projects on the table and they leave them there because they get so overwhelmed with all these things. And, it's great to be able to DIY things. And that's what you did, right? Like you did that for the challenge. You got it. You validated it. You knew that it was going to work. You were able to get those minimum viable pieces out there. And then we refined it like after you knew that it was going to work. And then same thing kind of even with this journal, because you were already following it on your own, whether it was in a blank notebook or whatever, you were still kind of tracking all of this stuff and you knew those pieces. And that's the thing, is that so many people, they stop because they get overwhelmed with, okay, the process of that next thing. And it is so important to like get these things out there because all of this stuff is so helpful for people. And, it's finding that team. It's always some kind of team. It's hard to do this all on your own. And, whether it's helping with, finding a writer or people to help you put it online or, design, there's always a few moving pieces and parts into these projects. But it was so cool to see it actually. Like, I think for me, the coolest part is always to get that printed copy. So we got our copies, and but I'm curious, like what's next for you? So I know that you have all these things in place, and I know that you've been working hard on your own journey. So like where do you see this product that can help you and where you want to go?
So this product is perfect for me because it's where I want to take my business is I want to take on a few individuals for coaching, but in a small group, because I don't want to do one-on-one coaching because in my experience, people show up better if it's in a group and not just one-on-one. And so, so then in the small group coaching, I would walk them through this and we go through this together for 12 weeks. And then for those who maybe can't afford that or don't have the time or don't want the group coaching, there would be an online version of it. So they would get the journal, and they would have the little snippets of video where I come on and I talk through, okay, explain what you're doing here. I do some motivation stuff, talk a little bit about my story. Basically, I'm walking with them, whether it's in the group coaching or it's on the online. I'm walking through their journey with them for the 12 weeks. And hitting on things that I know that they're going to come up against. And when most people do this weight loss thing by themselves, and to have someone like you mentioned that's been where they are, like I get the mental stuff, I get like this is hard, but let me be proof to you that if you get through these hard days, it's going to be worth it. And you may not see it today, you may not see it tomorrow, but if you stick with it, in 12 weeks you're going to see and you're going to feel the difference. And so that this journal really has given me, like, this is the framework from which I will do all my coaching, whether it's small group or it's through the online course. This is it. This is the framework. So that to me, that like this is it. This is what I need. So when I go to work, like I can have this and I can walk anyone through their transformation.
I love it. I think that's awesome. And it's such a valuable tool, and I've shown it to a few people, and I'm like, this thing, just the way that it takes you through this process, because it is so hard to do this on your own, and you need tools like this to actually like help you, along with like that person that you know can help drive you there, because it's such an interesting ongoing sort of journey for sure. So you'll have to tell me, like, where do you think like, do you think there's other products in your future? Do you think that this has kind of opened your eyes up to like what could be, or are you going to just be kind of time testing this one and seeing like where this could eventually go?
So I think this is going to probably be my staple for a long time, but I do like when people graduate from the 12 weeks, most people want ongoing support. So I think like then like the next step of that is like, okay, a membership site where people who've gone through, so they know that they have the foundation, but they still have a long way to go. Because many people who are attracted to me and my story have 40 to 100 plus pounds of weight to lose. And so it is a longer process. Yes, you will see results in 12 weeks if you follow this, but people don't understand all of the non-physical stuff that you go through and the transformation. Okay, and now that I've lost this weight, now what do I do? So I'm kind of playing around with a couple things. One, an ongoing membership for people who graduate and want to stay in and stay connected. And then the other part is maybe, okay, so maybe there's a phase 2. So this is phase 1 where we set the basics and you lose the initial weight. And then phase 2 is maintaining, or or phase 2 is, okay, how do I show up now in this world, because I'm basically a new person. I mean, I went through all those things. I lost all this weight. I was this 275-pound woman. Now I was 175, 160, 155. I'm seen as different in the world. I show up different. People are seeing me different. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know how to live here. And these are kind of things that like nobody was talking about when I was.
Nobody talks about those. No.
So, and it's something that I've experienced, and it's something that like it trips people up. They don't realize they're like having an identity crisis. I know that sounds funny, but they are. And then like they go back to what's comfortable for them. And what's comfortable is even they weren't happy, but they knew how to show up and they knew how they would be received when they were a certain way. So really like I kind of see this as like the foundation. Whether it's going to be, I think there will be a membership course regardless, or a membership group regardless, because people want that ongoing support. But I definitely see a second, phase 2, phase 3, whatever you want to call it, kind of journey for people.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that too when we were finishing it up. It's like almost like there are like the maintenance phase even of like, just that's a whole different element to it, like it's the next level really of just keeping that weight off. Then like once you get it off, keeping it off, and like the mental side of it. But so I think it's great to hear that like just these couple of things that we did together can help you to find different ways to, like different wings of your business that you can kind of keep growing on. It's just like a building block, which that's what a lot of people, whether they're doing journals or books or whatever, it's always looking at that end goal as to like, okay, so we have this piece, but then where do we want to go? Where do we want this to take us? And how do we get there? But I'm so glad that we got to chat, and you'll have to tell everyone where they can find you, because you have a killer IG account that I am always giving you lots of hearts and loves, and because I love that you are sharing this with so many people, because this is so needed. So definitely let us know where we can find you and when you think you'll be opening up the doors for people.
Okay, you can find me. I'm most active currently on Instagram at because_I_decided. You can find me on Facebook that too. I do post there occasionally, but you'll see all my updated progress pics and stuff on Instagram. You can check out my website and the low carb challenge on www.becauseIdecided.com. I don't ever give that out, so that sounds good. It probably goes without saying, but there you have it. And I do want to mention one other thing that I forgot to mention, and the beauty of working with you is like you saw things that like I have blinders on, because like I've been living in this for so long, and you were able, because you took the time to look at the content and really talk to me and understand what I was trying to do. You were very helpful in pulling out things that I completely not included, because I've just been with this for so long that I didn't stop and think. And then you would say, well, do you think that they need to know how to do this first? yes, they do. And why didn't I include that? So I want to say kudos to you for that, because I'm going to say it again. It really was a teamwork collaboration thing. It wasn't, I mean, I didn't just hand you something and then that was it. Well, I mean, you saw what I handed you. It was pictures of a Post-it. It really was a back and forth. And you really helped draw it out of me and help create this thing, this valuable piece of content that's really a building block for my business. So.
Oh, thanks, Mariah. Well, I enjoyed the process of working with you. And I have to say, too, on my end, that I'm really thankful that you trusted me with it because, like I said, going back, it's really hard to, to talk to somebody without having the words and how to express or explain exactly what you want, and to trust me with that, and to go through the process with me, because I did ask a lot of you, and a lot of things, just like you said, like we had to really collaborate on it. So I appreciate that you trusted me to do that, and I think we came up with a very awesome finished piece, and I can't wait for people to be a part of your program, because they're going to gain way more than just a journey planner. They are going to get a new lifestyle. So I appreciate you, and thank you so much again. I can't wait to share this with everyone.
Thank you, Leanna.
All right, thanks.